Story 1. I spent a whole day writing a lengthy post in a community, only to realize that I can't upload it because I need 10 comment karma. Can someone please help me? This is incredibly frustrating. Story 2. I am 36 and single and could have been living a much better life if I were not so preoccupied with dating. I was strikingly beautiful in my youth, even up until age 32. However, I had past traumas that made me reluctant to date men, despite their interest. Now at 36, through extensive therapy, I have managed to go on a handful of dates. But I received the same reaction, that I am past my prime, not as youthful looking as I once was, and that a quality man looking to start a family will seek someone 10 years younger than I. I fear I have ruined my chance at a family while most attractive women I know took advantage of their looks and youth, married well, and are living their dream lives. Story 3. Performing someone else's responsibilities when they are fully capable of doing it themselves. Story 4. Seeing all the shelter dogs on Reddit that are scheduled for euthanasia makes me sick. This practice needs to end. Story 5. Seeing people succeed is gratifying. I've never been a jealous person. I enjoy witnessing others achieve their goals, especially when they do not face the same obstacles that have held me back. Yet it's disheartening when they throw it all away. Those who are free from calamity and hardship sometimes make poor choices. Story 6. I thought things couldn't make you depressed and that you were just built that way with no control over it. Story 7. I can never seem to save money. I plan and start, but then something unexpected happens. My savings are at $4. I have been trying, but groceries are expensive, car payments are high, and everything is costly. Story 8. The climate. The United States. Current state of the world. Lack of human rights. Possibility of World War III. Ukraine and Russia. Israel and Gaza. Pakistan and India. University fees. Artificial intelligence. Unemployment. Hostile architecture. The future. Story 9. I live in a hostel after being kicked out of my home because someone called the police about me. My mother mistakenly thought I was at fault and shared the story with her friends, who advised her to ask me to leave. Now I have no family or friends to turn to for help. I am unable to find a job because I have been rejected by several employers due to my dyslexia and a verbal tic. I rely solely on universal credit, receiving £130 every 2 weeks to cover my bills and buy essentials. This leaves me with barely enough for food, and I have developed an eating disorder due to my limited intake. The hostel is filled with people who use drugs and smoke. I am allergic to many substances, which triggers daily allergic reactions. Life is challenging. Story 10. My children were my entire life. My entire identity revolved around being their mom. This Mother's Day, I have heard from all 5, but not one of them made time to visit me today. I separated from their father last summer, and I'm still struggling with going from 10 people in the house most of the time to being completely alone now. Being alone today is crushing me. Story 11. Mother's Day and Father's Day commercials remind me of my loss. I lost both parents, and while I have children now, I cannot have any more. Watching my kids with my new husband makes me sad that we cannot share that experience together. Story 12. Personally, I am currently dealing with the issue of fearing connections with people because of the control they might have over me, and it is sadly driving me crazy. Story 13. I love what I do, and I'm good at it. When I make a small mistake, it drives me into a strong internal rage that often leads to depression. I have realized that I impose unrealistic standards on myself and on those around me. Unfortunately, I can't turn this tendency off, and it is affecting my well-being. Story 14. We exist as a species by sheer happenstance, yet we decided to enslave ourselves, allowing a select few no different from the rest of us, to enforce the system as if it is how things are supposed to be. Anyone who recognizes the absurdity of this should be subjected to the made-up ideas of punishment and submission from those few. Human constraints, though arbitrary, somehow seem to hold significance against the backdrop of their complete irrelevance. Given the lack of inherent meaning behind our existence, we should focus on how fortunate and precarious our position in the universe is. We should use this opportunity to exist fully, avoiding the waste of our time on meaningless pursuits such as currency, hatred, war, and especially ego and greed. Every time I bring up these ideas, there are always those who respond with, "That's just how it is," or "You can't change it, so change your thinking," as if I could willingly choose to ignore the blatant and nonsensical corruption around us. If I could embrace blissful ignorance, wouldn't I have chosen that long ago? People wonder why suicide rates are what they are. The greatest blessing and curse is the ability to see through the nonsense of our insignificant existence. I can see beyond the struggles of humanity, yet I remain shackled by them, despite not believing in any of it. The insignificance and meaninglessness of our existence should make it special and meaningful. The fact that we are here, capable of understanding our existence at all, is remarkable. Our timeline as a species is astronomically short, even compared to others' historical timelines, yet we have squandered our time in this brief window. I loathe this forced routine of existing by the rules laid down by those long dead or currently in power. It is clear to me that this existence lacks meaning or justification, and I can hardly bear to pretend otherwise. Therapy and medication have proven ineffective, and attempts to find joy in life have failed. I wake up with no good reason, wasting my existence on work that seems pointless, just to continue living in pursuit of some futile idea of a future in this artificial reality that promises more of the same. For no good reason. This is simply the everyday struggle in my mind. Story 15. Weather can be challenging with cold. Rainy days that seem to go on forever. Then, that first beautiful day of spring arrives, and it feels like a heavy weight has been lifted. Story 16. The fact that my favorite person is getting older. Eventually, she won't be here. My grandmother has been my guiding light since I was a baby. Story 17. My apartment mate doesn't let me work from home. He is needy and talks all the time. I really don't know what to do. Sometimes I skip meals because I have to go to the living room, and he is always there to bother me. It's quite frustrating. Story 18. When directors or producers decide to kill off my favorite character in a show or film for shock value or drama. Story 19. My mental state has been verbally abused by my father. I have the ability, or curse, of feeling nothing. I can feel and show happiness and other emotions, but honestly, I do not feel sympathy, sadness, remorse, or regret. Basically, anything associated with forgiveness or compassion. I can express these emotions, but to me it's only a mask, not the real thing. Story 20. The chemical imbalance and my family reminding me that I am not someone they want to include ever in anything. Story 21. Politics, hateful people, my neurotransmitters, liars, know-it-alls, superiority complexes, narcissists, and hot weather. Story 22. Knowing I've wasted my teens and young adulthood working when I should have been having fun, living an endless cycle of sleep and work. I feel like the one friend left behind in life while everyone else has moved on to have families and loved ones. Story 23. The news is something I avoid 98% of the time, but I still check in occasionally. A child is either kidnapped or brutally murdered, and people are often in conflict over various issues. Therefore, I choose to stay away from the news. Story 24. What makes me the most depressed is the fact that I can't seem to forgive myself to be able to forgive others. Story 25. I am 30 years old. My mom is 74, and my dad passed away when I was 24. I currently have no job or vehicle. I come from a big family. I struggle to find a girlfriend, and it pains me to know that I don't have a family of my own. I had a great job, but due to a mental health crisis, I left, and now I feel like I am a lost cause. However, I know I must keep going, especially considering the struggles of some of the people I have been fortunate enough to meet in my life. Story 26. My whole family has been gone for years, and I am only 50. I know I may have to endure another 20 years in this decaying body, and I will probably never see my loved ones again. Story 27. Not getting enough sleep for an extended period, not eating healthy food, not engaging in physical activities, not spending time outdoors, and overworking can all take a toll on well-being. I can manage any of these challenges for a while, but things can take a turn for the worse if they continue for too long. In my opinion, The difficult part about depression is that the triggers can also manifest as symptoms, creating a vicious cycle. The most significant factor that has helped me is improving my ability to recognize when I am starting to struggle and consciously making an effort to engage in activities that I know are beneficial. Having a dog encourages me to get out, even on days when I don't feel like it, and when things are challenging, we make time for long, vigorous walks together. Story 28. Not having many friends who match your effort and energy can be disheartening. Additionally, having friends who secretly think you're awkward or overwhelming for simply being yourself can be isolating. Story 29. Loneliness. I have been single for 16 years, my entire adult life. And when I say single, I mean no dates, no hookups, no flirts, and no conversations initiated by anyone else. It feels like absolute rejection and invisibility from the whole of humanity. Whenever I bring it up, people who have no problem meeting others come forward to tell me I should be happy without a basic part of human existence that they have never willingly gone without, which fundamentally reflects on my worth as a person. I know I am good enough. I know I am actually really good, but no one wants to find out. It's all I have ever wanted in life. I give it a 50-50 chance I survive the next 3 months, 1 in 10 for the year. Story 30. I feel like a failure for my family. I can't provide anything nice, and the only reason we make ends meet is because we pay $1,150 in rent. Once that changes, we will be in serious trouble. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Every raise I receive seems insufficient and doesn't keep up with rising costs. Story 31. I believe it initially triggered due to my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I received a very late diagnosis around age 32 or 33, and for most of my life, I couldn't understand why I couldn't just be like everyone else. I feel like I lost at least a decade of my life just floundering. I am currently on medication, so my depression is much more manageable. I also have a counselor who helps me process my feelings. When my depression does resurface, I often feel overly tired and frustrated, especially when I make too many mistakes or when friends don't make plans with me. Sometimes, I feel very worthless and question if I will ever find romantic love, or even if I want to. Thinking about my future can be discouraging. A positive aspect of having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is that these thoughts rarely dwell in my mind. I tend to be present in the moment, and my medication helps regulate my mood and anxiety, which is beneficial. Just remember, it is an illness. Sometimes your mental barriers become weak and amplify the symptoms. If you are struggling, be gentle with yourself. Reach out to someone, or enjoy some treats while snuggling under a blanket. Take care. Story 32. Not depressed, at least I don't think I am, but I often find myself in an existential funk while trying to understand why humanity exists on this planet. It's truly mind-blowing to drive to work and engage in mundane tasks from Monday to Friday. Sometimes, I'd rather be a tortoise. Story 33. The sun is setting, and I find myself alone. I consider myself a charismatic person with high self-esteem, and I can be a bit cocky. However, when the sun sets and I'm by myself, feelings of imposter syndrome and existential dread creep in. I often question whether I was a good person that day. I've begun telling others that I'm an extreme extrovert, so I can't be left alone for too long. Story 34. The fact that I need to keep working nonstop makes me tired. Sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night for the past 20 years isn't helping either. Story 35. 1. Trump supporters. 2. Followers of Andrew Tate. 3. Watching our planet die while knowing I am part of the problem. 4. Garbage patches in the ocean. 5. Hatred becoming normal and acceptable again. 6. More screen time than green time. 7. Student debt and financial struggles. Capitalism being the root of many problems. 9. Working 9 to 5 for 5 to 6 days a week. 10. The state of romance. 11. Today's music. 12. The increasing lack of individuality, yet still no consensus among people. 13. Children overly attached to devices. 14. The reality that most enjoyable foods are unhealthy. Story 36. Seeing people buy their first house or car, going on vacation, or just living their best life is a common experience. You're expected to feel positive and happy for them, but I often find myself wanting to type, must be nice, out of bitterness. Story 37. Loving without being loved back or appreciated. I keep having people around me who just take and take. It's crushing. Story 38. I have a coworker who is depressed. On her good days, she talks nonstop about everything, while not once asking me what I'm doing or how I am. On her bad days, she sighs deeply and sniffles about once a minute, narrating her thoughts so I have to think them too. It's exhausting having to maintain a filter all day and be careful about her moods. Not once does she show awareness of how I am. I could be having a migraine, and she would complain about the email she just received. It really drains my energy sometimes. The irony is, she can be a nice person too. Story 39. I have noticed that many subreddits are often dull and draining to engage with, especially when discussions feel repetitive and unproductive. I would prefer to use this app to escape and enrich my life with stories, perspectives, my passions and interests, ultimately becoming stronger rather than feeling tired and burnt out. Story 40. Constant reminders of my past failures lead to feelings of diminished self-worth. I struggle with suicidal thoughts and the ongoing battle against them. The lack of financial security, resulting from poor life choices, adds to my challenges. I am fully aware of my issues but feel helpless because I cannot afford medication or professional help at this time. These factors contribute to my difficulties in navigating life. Story 41. Getting comfortable in my bed during winter. I warm the cold sheets with my body heat and realize I didn't close the bathroom faucet completely. Every drop is a reminder that if I don't get up, I won't sleep. Story 42. I have felt depressed from 2020 to 2023. I still hold on to the past while thinking about the future. I am scared of growing up and feel like I am too inadequate to make something of myself. I struggle with a lack of courage. Story 43. I don't even know. One moment I'm happy. The next, I'm reconsidering everything about my existence. Am I worth anything to anyone? Story 44. I had to do many things for my career, but I find myself procrastinating and wasting time. I don't know why, but at 1 a.m., it feels awful and depressing. Story 45. Aging, death, injustice, deceit, the death of my beloved, cancer, miscarriage, parasites, organized crime, scams, wars, drug and weapon production, the way of reasoning and living of adult and older women. Story 46. The news. I don't follow it and have no idea what's happening in the world. I'm quite happy with that. Story 47. Our landlord is not fixing things in our home that need attention. After a year of trying to communicate, he completely ignores us. It feels like we are only valued for paying the rent. Story 48. My attention deficit hyperactivity disorder makes me feel a strong desire to improve my life. However, I struggle to take action. I should be organizing my room and preparing for my surgery exams, but instead, I find myself scrolling through Reddit. Story 49. I haven't felt a woman's hug in over 15 years. I forgot what warmth feels like. I take long hot showers trying to replicate it. Story 50. The state of the world. Aside from that, my life until a few years ago was quite challenging. I was so accustomed to it until my therapist helped me realize that what I experienced was not the norm. Story 51. The biggest trigger is dirty dishes. I am strict about that unless I'm feeling down. When I'm in a low mood, I switch to sandwiches to avoid cooking and possibly leaving a mess. Waking up to grease is unsettling. When I lived with my dad, I transitioned from a home with a very tidy mother to a much messier environment with my dad and his wife. I washed and dried all the dishes once, but there wasn't enough space in the cupboards. There are too many dishes. One person cooks and the other washes up after a meal. So there are always dishes, just a collection of greasy remnants. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.